All right, we are recording. So welcome back to another fun-filled discussion of the technology department. So what I was thinking, because we didn't really get to meet each other last time, is to say our name. So you're going to have to unmute yourself and say, if you could have dinner with one person, alive or dead, who would it be and why? So I'll go first so that you guys all have time to think about it. Okay, so my name is Amy and I live in Colorado Springs. And if I could have dinner with one person, alive or dead, it would probably be Abraham Lincoln, because I would love to talk to him about what's going on in our country and to see what his thoughts are, because he probably has opinions on what we're doing now and what his vision was. So I think that, and I really respect him for his stands on different things. So I think that that's who I would choose. Okay, so it is alphabetical. So Alicia, you are next.
Oh man, I was hoping we weren't going alphabetical. I think if I were to pick anyone alive and dead, off the top of my head, the first person I can think of is Audrey Hepburn. Especially considering she is the epitome of beauty and class throughout generations. But additionally, she was also incredibly intelligent, was a huge proponent of education and social matters as well.
Fantastic. Anthony.
Yes, ma'am. So I would pick, there's a lot of good people. There's a lot of people. But I would do sports, Jerry Rice. Idol, grew up loving him. And so, yeah, I would just talk to him about, his inspiration and talking to him about how to catch a football and speed and everything, So I would just hang out with them and have him run some routes, and I'll throw him a pass.
That's awesome. Well, I'm a big Broncos fan, so I do love football. Brandon.
Hey, so I showed up right when you were finishing your answer to the question. I'm assuming was, who could you have dinner with, alive or dead?
Yep, exactly.
Gotta be Jesus.
That's a great answer.
Because he keeps the party going. He turns water into wine, and you can't beat that. That's like, it's a winning combination.
You never run out of food.
True. He keeps the party going, so I'm gonna say Jesus.
I like that answer. That's fantastic. All righty. Christopher.
Great. Going after Jesus. I thought mine was going to be great, but thanks, Brandon. I would say Viktor Frankl, the guy that wrote Man's Search for Meaning. One of my all-time favorite books. Love his psychology on positivity, and I'm not sure if you guys know a lot about him, but he was the guy that was in the concentration camp, and he wrote a book about how he was happy the whole time that he was in there. Very, very interesting insights on life and what really, gives life meaning and all that. So super, super intelligent, humble, awesome guy. Second to Jesus. I'll at least say that. Jesus would be number one.
Well, that's awesome. I've never heard of him, so now I'm going to have to go look up that book.
Yeah, Viktor Frankl. Awesome book.
Viktor Frankl. Okay. Derek. Derek, can I unmute you? Here, I'll unmute him. Ready? All right, Derek, you're unmuted.
All right, there we go. Yeah, all right. So I had an entire answer while I was muted, I think. But so I would actually really like to have dinner with Thomas Jefferson, kind of for similar reasons why you wanted to do Abraham Lincoln. But being that he's a founder, an originalist, started the Library of Congress. I mean, he just really, really intelligent guy, got the Constitution going, and really is the reason why we have a republic. So I've respected him for many years.
That's true. Father of education, too.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, Greg.
Well, my first idea was Thomas Jefferson along with Derek there, but then I went back a little bit farther with Christopher Columbus, and it's not so much of what we know about we did, it's how he did it. He had an internal ability for navigation that led to some of the things we've learned how to navigate since then, and so that would be something that I would like to have some time to talk about how he was able to just know where he was going without really having anything to tell him to do it before the compass worked.
That's a great, great question. Because I get lost going down my street. So that's fantastic. All right, Heather.
I don't know. That is a really hard question. I guess for me, maybe, I mean, just, plucking from like what's just been on my mind recently, I guess Maya Angelou would be a really great one. I just love and adore her so much. She was such a huge civil rights proponent and activist, and an incredible, incredible writer. So, she just passed away a few years ago, but I would love to sit down with her and just kind of pick her brain a little bit and just absorb her elegance and just incredibility. So, yeah.
I think you really hit it on the head when you said elegance. She was always just so classy, and
Yeah.
her quotes were amazing.
So strong, but so graceful. That's really hard, I think, sometimes to have that dichotomy really ring true. And she's just so powerful, but does it in such an elegant and graceful way. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Great answer. Okay, Jamie?
These are so good. Yours are all thought out and um and thoughtful. You guys, for those of you guys that know me, know that I'm a huge, 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 huge baseball fan. And so I would love, love, love to sit down with Jackie Robinson, just to kind of hear his thing, about what it was like being the first African American baseball player and going through all the trials and tribulations and all that. I mean, it was just, he went through the ringer. And I would like to see, take a page out of his book, learn how to roll with the punches a little bit better and be able to handle terrible people like that.
Absolutely. He was very good at handling terrible people, wasn't he? Awesome. Great answer. Marilee, you just came in. So what we're doing is we're just saying, if we could have dinner with somebody alive or dead, who would it be? And you are up.
Oh, well, I just got back from vacation, but I went to my favorite artist museum, Georgia O'Keeffe. I think she's an amazing person, was kind of a visionary in her field and very independent. And so that's who mine would be.
She's very, very talented. Yeah, great. Okay, Nate, it's up to you.
So I did catch that, and I appreciate you clarifying that question. I would choose, and Brandon beat me to it, I really would choose Jesus as far as a person to have dinner with. So yeah, I would definitely choose that. I would really like to see, how that would be, and just really see. I mean, it would just be a revelation. So it'd clarify a lot of things, and boy, I would be spreading that message.
Absolutely. That is a fantastic choice. I think we should all choose Jesus, but that's fantastic. Okay. Patrick, you are next.
All right. So mine is my grandfather and my grandmother. I never got to know them. They died when my dad was a teenager, so that would be cool to just talk about the family and just have a dinner with them. My grandma and my grandpa.
That is awesome. I would give anything for one more day with some of my family. So it's a great, great answer. All right, Tom, you are next.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tom Santamaria. I'm kind of Amy's right-hand man and kind of been with the company since 2007, so coming up on 10 years, and been with Online since 2010, all in the computer science department. And Amy and I have been pretty much around the block several times on this program, and it continues to improve and get better. So I always love these icebreakers because, I've learned that I don't always pick the same person. So at this point in time, as many times as I've done this, I've kind of gathered a Knights of Columbus, like round table of talent and a cornucopia of people. So today my answer is, because it's specific to this particular topic, is Steve Jobs. When we talk about what we do in our particular field and where we came from, being able to sit with the guy that basically designed the Apple computer in his garage and see where we're at today, just the selling point of being able to go and talk to him and say, how do you make it from a garage, basic wire mechanic and to where we're at today with technology and the advancements in computer science and computer technology? Just would be great to see how they go from nothing to something.
Well, that is good. Maybe someday you can meet Bill Gates and ask him too. 'Cause he's still alive, at least.
Yes, he's still alive.
All right, Trevor, you are last but not least.
Yes, I am last. So if I had to sit down with one person to have dinner with, it would be Teddy Roosevelt before he was president, because his leadership, his military mindset was nothing like of his time. It was unprecedented.
That's true. He's fantastic. Absolutely. And this is the military group. And Tom didn't add, but Tom is ex-military. He retired from the Air Force many, many, many years ago because he's ancient. No, I'm kidding. He's not that old. But yeah, so Tom is ex-military also.
Thank you for your service, sir. Prior Air Force here.
Cool. Thank you. Yep.
We have a pretty good mix of Air Force and Army. We have one Navy, and we have one Marine working for us, Tom, but we do have a lot of military with us.
And they do like to talk to each other about their different services.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, our department faculty meetings get pretty heated because we love to make fun of each other. So, absolutely. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start. Today, last time we gave you an overview of all of our different programs. And so this day, we are going to start getting into the program specifically. So I wanted to talk about the networking program today. And then in 2 weeks, Tom is going to talk about the programming side. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you about is our certifications and kind of discuss those, because that's what we had talked about a little bit last time. And then Tom is going to show you a lab in LabSim, just so you can get an idea of the hands-on simulation type approach that we have with our students. Advance my slide. Okay, so here are the courses that align to our certifications. So when a student takes MCS 101 and 102, then after that, for their final, they take the PC Pro practice exam. So they actually take that certifications practice exam. We tell them if they score an 80% or higher, they should go ahead and take the exam right away because the information is fresh in their mind. If they don't score an 80%, then we want them to come to a study session with us and study with us, which is on a Saturday for 3 hours, and then take the exam right away. So we do have a lot of support for our students. If they want to take it a month down the road, we do record all of our sessions also. So they can go back into our IT community course and they can go watch some of those old videos of when we might have trained for the PC Pro or Net Pro, and they can study themselves, go back through LabSim, do the labs, get refreshed, and then take the exam. The students who do take the exam, 95% of them pass it the first time. We really do a good job preparing the students. The only reason the students don't take the exam is a confidence level. Our students have very, very low self-esteem and very low confidence. And so it takes our instructors quite a while, many months of praising them and giving them feedback, very specialized feedback that says, you know, hey, Nate, I saw that you did fantastic on this testing. And this objective, you got a 100%. You aced that. I think that you are ready to take this exam. You're not going to struggle with it because you've taken these practice tests and you're ready. Okay. So it's really, like Tom said, the fear of testing, the fear of failure. They've had a lot of failure in their life, perhaps. So it takes us a lot to get them to test. But when our students test, 95% of them pass. We have very high rates. And so I just wanted to give you guys this presentation so you would see how our courses line up. So we have the 100 level classes, and then the 200 level, and then we have Security Pro, which is half 2 and 315, the Linux Pro, and then the CCNA. The CCNA is the Cisco Certified Networking Associate, and that is actually 4 courses because there is a lot of content in that exam. It is pretty big. Now the MCS 215 is Server Plus, and Server Plus right now has 3 exams. It has the install and configure, and then I'm going to switch to this slide, and then it has administering Windows servers, and then configuring advanced Windows server. So there are 3 exams. Just recently, CompTIA came out with a new exam that is just, it's just Server Plus 2016. And so we will be moving to that server soon. And there's a note on that too. The Server Pro series of certifications will be consolidated under one Server Pro Microsoft server. So now that they've updated that, we're going to move to that. And then our new one, which is EC Council, the Certified Ethical Hacker. We're really proud of that certification. And that one takes 4 courses also. So that's ISS 310, 320, 330, and 420. We also have one more course, which is 430, and that is computer forensics. There is a certificate or a certification for computer forensics, but we do not go into enough depth in that class for them to test it. So we can give them a voucher. They can sign up through us to pay less for that certification with our vouchers, but they would have to do some external studying on the computer forensics side. Any questions about these certifications before I keep going talking about them? Please feel free to unmute or type in the chat also. All right. So here are the considerations. What is so important about taking a certification? So first off, TestOut is the company that runs LabSim. And LabSim is the program that we use for our simulations, our lab simulations. I'm just reading Alicia's. So I know C++ is a programming language. Today I was enrolling a student in NISS. He asked about security C++. There is no security C++. Unless you're talking about software security. Is that what, Tom, is that what she's talking about, software security?
Yes, I would not specifically in the NISS Networking and Information System Security Program, but certainly in the Software and Mobile Application Development Program. Security and C++ security is integrated into the certifications in the programming side.
Yep, and that's PRG 305. So it is definitely in the programming side. But he will, in the NISS, get Security Plus, which is the security other side. So it's really important. Security Plus is a great cert. So the LabSim certifications are free for our students the first time. So we make sure with the license that we give them, it is 18 months. The vouchers expire after the LabSim, after we give the license, 18 months. They can take that exam anytime. We suggest they take it right after the class. Like I said, it's fresh in their mind, but they don't have to. They can wait 18 months down the road if they'd like. If they fail, they can retake it for less than $45. So that's a huge, huge cost savings. If I was going to just sign up for LabSim and buy the certification and buy the curriculum, it would be in between $850 and $1,200 per class. So if you add up all those costs of every single one of those certs, that's a lot of money we're saving the students. It's huge. And then if they retake it, I've also have a deal with them for less than 45. It's pretty cool. So now talking about students who pass a LabSim certification prior to the class, that is a pass by exam and credit is given for the course. So if a student takes Net 103, or let me come right back here. If the student takes Net 103, they will be given the license for Network Pro, the full license. If that student studies Net Pro and takes the test and passes that certification, they will get a pass by exam credit for 104. So students can reduce their amount of coursework by studying for these certifications and taking a pass by exam credit, which is pretty exciting, I think. So that is that. The technology school uses certifications such as LabSim and CompTIA in lieu of courses. So our curriculum is based on these certifications, okay? We don't make up other things. We don't bring in other external content unless it's important for the certification, so that the students get the best information and the depth that they need to pass these certifications. They are very, very important in the industry to pass. So if I'm teaching a Network Plus class, I am not going to throw in C++ programming because it won't help the student pass the Network Plus exam. I might bring in, I might show a Cisco router in one of my live sessions and throw some different things at it and we troubleshoot the router, okay? But that's because troubleshooting the router will help the student pass the Network Plus exam. So everything is very, very focused for the students so that they can be successful in these. Any questions on these important considerations before I add?
Yes, ma'am. So with that mentioned, we're issuing out certification vouchers, if I'm understanding this correctly. And it expires when the student's license for, like it reads, the LabSim class expires. So would a student be able to, when they do the test out, they pass, they've got the voucher, would they be able to use that to show to potential employers that they have these certifications for employment purposes, or is this just
no, absolutely
school specific? Okay.
No, these are for the employee. These actual employer. They go right on your resume. A technology resume looks different than, say, a business resume. The student's going to put their name up front, and then they're going to put their schooling next and their certifications. So they're going to say, my name is Alicia Barr. This is my degree. I have a bachelor's in networking and information system security. My certifications are Network Pro, Security Pro, Routing and Switching Pro. You're going to list your certifications. And the reason those are so important is because these certifications, they are lab-based. So if you look at the third tab down and the fourth tab, these labs or these certifications are not multiple choice questions like some of them are. Like the regular Cisco CCNA is all multiple choice. I took it. It's very difficult. They give you a stack of white paper and a pencil. You're not allowed to bring anything with you. And that's how you do your notes. You can write down whatever you want, but you can't take it with you, and you can't bring anything with you. Now, these are lab-based. So you actually have to demonstrate that you know what you're doing. And that's not easy to demonstrate because there's different ways to do things. So it takes practice. While Tom might know how to, plug in a computer and do an initial boot on a CPU because he's done it a million times, it might take me more practice because I've only done it, let's say I've only done it 3 times. Okay. My background is in networking. And when I sat down to take the CCNA, it was very, very hard because the way they word the exams, the multiple choice. And some of our students are just not good at multiple choice. But with LabSim, we have a video. So they watch the video and we tell them what they're going to learn. And then they have a fact sheet, and it's maybe 1 page in Word. It's not very long. So they read what they're going to learn. So they've watched a video, we told them what they're going to learn. They read about what they're going to learn. And then there's another video that's a demonstration of the lab. So then we show them how to do what they're going to learn. So we show them how to plug in the computer, and we show them how to turn it on. And then we give them the lab, and they have to do it. The same steps. And so each chapter in each little subcategory, we tell them what they're going to learn, they read about it, and then we show them, and then they do it hands-on. And that's what Tom is going to show you in just a minute. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to let Tom show you the actual skills, and then we'll come back to my presentation. Just to finish out this slide, the certifications, some of them are not nationally recognized at the same level, but CompTIA has recognized Test Out, and the Department of Defense is now recognizing Test Out. So the DoD 8570 is now taking this Net Pro, Security Pro, CCNA Pro. So just because they correlate to the CompTIAs, you don't have to take both of them. And so we're giving them all these free certifications. They just have to test. All right, Tom, I stopped sharing so that you can share.
Awesome. Let's see if I can find my screen here. Everybody can hear me okay? And let me know, Amy, if you'll check on that. Make sure everybody can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. We really do like the lab sim environment. It does give the students an opportunity to really test in a virtual environment on some of the skill sets. So what I have for you today is a PC Pro or Client Pro certification course or Client Pro course. And this is the first lab. And what this lab does is it really introduces students to how the labs work. So on the left side of the screen, you'll see a scenario that outlines what the students are going to be presented with. And down below here, you'll see complete the following tasks. This lists the actual tasks that they have to do. The really nice thing about this is they can break it, they can mess it up, they can reset it, they can do this any amount of times that they need to get it right and to be able to memorize it. So they'll be able to see it over and over and over again. And like Amy said, sometimes we've been doing it so long, we fail to take into consideration some of the simple steps that leads to success. For example, turning on the monitor. I did this a couple times. It's like, oh, I forgot to turn the power on. So the way these labs work is you're presented a shelf of equipment, and the students are tasked to provide a monitor and connect a cable. This is something pretty simple that most people can do. Is I can take my monitor and I can plug it into my computer. The nice thing about the way these are demonstrated is that I can see the front of the CPU, or I could see the back of this. I could flip it over and do the back of the CPU. You can make it bigger, so you can actually, see the different connections that are on the back and stuff. So there's a lot of student flexibility in the way they do this. And the way these labs normally work is it's like, okay, so I gotta connect a monitor to my particular computer. So you can see the monitor tab here. I'm going to expand that. And I'm just going to, you can either double click on it or you can drag it. So I have selected the monitor, and the monitor is now on my shelf. And then the students go in and they add the monitor to their computer. And then they basically can connect it. Okay. And then what they'll do is they'll then take a cable, and I can add a cable. And it's now in my shelf. And then you have, what's interesting is you have to do these step by step. And even though we may think it's lame to say, okay, well, I got to plug one end into the monitor and one end into the power supply, with the way LabSim works, you actually have to connect the individual parts. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to drag that over to my power strip so I can plug it into the power strip. And you can now see that my cable is connected to my power strip. But then on this side, I got to go back to my monitor. I'm going to drag my monitor into my work surface. So now I have a monitor, but I can't connect the monitor to the front. I got to look at the back side because that's where the other connections go. So then from there, I can click on my cable. That's really kind of cool. And I could take the other end of the cable and plug it into the back of the monitor. And it's just a matter of dragging and dropping, or sometimes double clicking. So for this particular exercise, I now have the power cable connected to the computer. but I'm now missing the cable that actually connects the monitor to the computer. And again, you're presented two different sides of it. So I'm going to click on one side, and on one side of that, I'm going to drag it up, and I'm going to connect it somewhere. And I'm going to do this wrong just to show you. And it'll show you, it's like, well, I can't connect that cable to that particular monitor because it's a DVI connector. It's a computer term for different types of connections. So I can't connect it to a VGA port. I've got to connect it to a DVI port. So then once it is acceptable, it'll tell you, okay, now I've got that connection, but I still need the other connection. Same thing here is I can drag it up, and here's a VGA. This is a VGA port, but I can't connect to a VGA port. So the nice thing about these labs is it tells the students like, hey, you can't do this. This is not the right connectivity. So I drag it up here and I connect it to the correct port. It's going to refresh there. So now you can see it's highlighted in yellow a little bit, and I've got all the connections made. Now, I'm going to do this wrong just so you can see, because the number one thing I didn't do, and when I click on done, it'll tell me, I didn't turn anything on. So the lab isn't complete because I failed to turn on the monitor and I failed to turn on the surge protector, which is power. So even as something as a simple task of turning on power can affect the student's ability to think about troubleshooting and think about how you present this information and how you help clients. Because many of you know, when you call the help desk at Dell or wherever, the first thing they're going to ask you, no matter how many times we hate that they ask you this, is the power on? So these are labs that are really at the simplest form and the simplest levels. And then if I messed it up, guess what? I can come back in and I can start the lab over.
And then did you notice on the left-hand side, he had a big blue button that said an I, and it says, watch the preceding demonstration if you to rewatch these skills. So if they forget those skills, they can just click on that and it'll take them to the demonstration that was right before this that shows them how to do that.
Yep.
So it's very cool.
So a couple of other things to note that we do not allow our instructors to do is we do not allow our instructors to basically go in and teach a lab sim course that just does, okay, here's your work for this week. I'm just going to turn you loose on lab sim and have you do it during the live sessions. That's not what our live sessions are about. Our live sessions are to bring them something new, something exciting, something that enhances their learning of these objectives. Because we view lab sim and we view these online lab materials as nothing more than an extension of the class, like a textbook. So instructors really have to bring their A game when they're teaching these, because if we're going to come out here and do live sessions and all we're going to do is show this content that is in lab sim, that's not what we're hoping to gain. And it's really kind of cool because you can actually click here and I can turn the computer on, you know, I can add the monitor, and you could reset this and it tells you the computer is now on. I can add the monitor, I can drag the monitor in, and I can turn the monitor on. If I can find the power button for the monitor. Sometimes they're a little weird because I think that's the monitor button, right?
You can't plug it in because you didn't plug it in.
I know, can't turn it on because I haven't plugged it in yet. But this is how these labs are based. I mean, they're really very specific and they're very detailed so that students learn the right process, the right procedure step by step. So questions or comments about these, and the scenarios are there. You can do them over and over again. We encourage students that when they submit their lab work for the week, that they submit the lab work saying that they mastered the skills. We don't care how many attempts it takes them to make it to 100%. We just really want to see them get to 100%.
Feel free to unmute, ask questions, or type it in the chat.
I'm still running full screen, Amy, so I can't see the chat if you see anything. So
no, I see it. Yeah.
So the lab sim seems pretty intensive as far as the program. And what I mean by that is that a student would really want to have a solid internet connection to be able to do this. What if like they're halfway through and they lose power? It doesn't save the work where they left off on, or do they have to repeat it all at the very beginning?
No, it does save their work, but it doesn't, the exams don't save. So that's the only piece, is the multiple choice exams for each week don't save. Once you're in them and you have to finish them. But these labs, they don't take a ton of time. These labs are little tiny chunks that they can do a little at a time. So even if they lost one lab, it would probably only take them 10 minutes, 5 minutes to get back to where they were if they did lose it. It depends on what step they're at, but it does save your progress. If we did 10 different labs and there were 12 to do in the chapter, it would show that you've completed 10 labs. It does save your progress as you go.
I'm just going to click on done
So
here.
you don't have to worry about that. But that's why that last week, when we talked, I said, the keys to success for our school is a solid internet connection, because they cannot go to the library and run LabSim. The libraries do not like running LabSim. And so that's really, really important, is that they have their own laptop and their own internet connection. The other problem is some of these labs are, it might take them 20 minutes to do a lab, and places like Starbucks or McDonald's have a tendency of cutting you off after 20 minutes of internet use. So it's really, really important for our students to be using the school computer and to have their own internet connection.
Right, yep. And the other factor is that most of the LabSim courses will not start for them until they are, I think, their second term. So they will have their laptop. This is not really geared, I mean, it does work off a tablet, worst case scenario, but it's not necessarily optimized or optimal for a tablet as much as it is to have their laptop. And you could see I did bring up this is the outline for that PC or that Client Pro course. And the little, I don't know how well you can see it, but the little black icon represents a mouse, which tells the student that that is a lab-based component of LabSim versus just a video or versus just reading. So the nice thing is it's really well laid out for students, and they can complete it. Like Amy said, it does keep their progress in the course itself. And then as a student, you can go out, and what we have them do is they export a screenshot of their scores, and that's what they submit to the course.
Yep.
I think it's amazing. One thing with the LabSim, and I love it. I've never seen it before, and I think that's awesome that we have like a 3D model and you can look at the front side, back side. So do we also have in our courses like an instructor, for an example, saying, okay, class, this is today's lecture, and it's recorded, and it shows the computer broken down, like for computer servicing, for an example, and saying, okay, this is how you, insert your RAM. This is your hard drive, and they can see that video. Does LabSim have any videos that they can watch that actually has a physical computer, the ins and outs of it?
Yep. That's, if you can still see my screen, all of that honestly is inside a Test Out PC Pro, which correlates to the A+ certification. Mm-hmm. And yes, there's labs in here where they actually have to take RAM modules, and some of these labs get pretty intricate, where they not only have to select the right motherboard, they have to select the right case, they have to select the right power supply, they have to select the right CPU chip, they have to select the right RAM. So we get really detailed into the nuts and bolts about building, configuring, whether it's a PC, in the Network Pro, same thing. You'll have to select a router, a switch, a hub. You have to pick the right cables. You got to connect the right cables to the right interface, all virtually. So depending on the product and the course will depend on what level of detail you get with that. So.
And I've argued with LabSim as I've literally talked to my computer, because I decided that I should have a router and it decided that I should use a switch. And I said, no, I want to use a router, but LabSim didn't want me to. So it definitely will tell you why also. So it'll say, well, while router is an acceptable option, we want you to use a switch and why. So when you run your report, it'll tell you what you missed, but it'll also tell you why. And then you can click on that and watch the demonstration of why they think that you should use what they think you should use, basically.
And we have a video. You could see that I basically had clicked on the score sheet. So this is where they capture their screenshot of what they submit to the class. Obviously, I haven't done them all. So, and what I do is, because I do this so many times, I reset the course completely. So I start it over and over and over again so that students see us. What they're seeing from us as instructors is not something that we completed. So what we can do as instructors is we reset our own product time and time and time again so that they could see us do it. And Amy and I and Mitch and several at our department, we've gone through some of these labs and tried to do them. And I'm going to tell you something, we've got 30 years of experience in our field, and we still don't always get them right the first time. So.
And it's a great experience for students to get it wrong, because we all assume we're right, a lot of the time. But it was very humbling for me to see, with my background, that no, I was wrong. They don't want me to use that. They wanted me to use the switch, and why. And so it's great. Tom, you can go ahead and stop sharing, and I'll move to the next slide.
I did want to say a couple things. When we talk about confidence, and we do know students struggle sometimes with the confidence. And I think what I bring to the classroom sometimes, and we encourage our instructors to bring to the classroom, is, I have several certifications. And I'm going to tell you something. I think there's only one in my history, and Marilee can attest to this because she's done certs before too. I think there was only one that I actually passed the first time out. I mean, I've got certifications in Visual Studio and C++, and I'm a programmer by trade. So I'm going to tell you something, even in the certification testing center, we don't necessarily always pass them the first time out. Just because we're teachers and we've been in the field for a long time doesn't mean we're experts in how we pass the test. And that's how we really encourage our students not to give up and don't sell their confidence short. Yes, they may fail it the first time, but the nice thing is we have agreements and we have arrangements with the company to do retests at a very, very small retest price. So that really helps us with building the confidence in our students. So.
Yep. All right. So just to finish up here, I'm going to try and finish up in less than 15 minutes. So the live sessions in week 4 for those final certification courses will be held by the course instructor, and they're directed towards certification. So in week 4, we use that final assessment as the practice exams for the certs. So they get that practice. They get to learn that. And then the recordings are uploaded in the course as well as the IT community course. So I also wanted to take a second and show you the IT community course. So, and then once a quarter, an online certification seminar session will be held. And this is what I was telling you about, those Saturdays for 3 hours. These seminars are so essential for successful exam preparation. I mean, we go in, and once again, we say why we chose this motherboard. Or in a lab, they offer 3 video cards. Which video card do you choose and why? So it's more of the student strategy to make sure that they're practicing and doing that. We send these out via the FPA population emails, and we also advertise the seminars in our IT community course and our announcements in our courses. It's hosted by technology department instructors. And this is the next one, is September 16th is the PC Pro. Mitch McDonald is hosting that one. I don't know who's going to do November 4th, but I think that'll be Shane Lauber. He's one of our amazing instructors. And then this is just the online seminar agenda. So it's a quick intro, why certifications, and then they'll talk about which one they're going to be doing. And then the preparation strategy and the study material. And then the test out certification overview and review. So it is 3 hours of intense studying, but it's really, really successful. So the value, certifications boost the confidence and increase the knowledge of our students. And certification and a college degree significantly increases the chances for employment. So it's very, very important for our students to have both that degree and the certification. It's really, really important. This is what our, I made it really tiny. Okay, this is our IT community page. Can you guys see this okay? Yes, okay. So this is just a community page that all of our students are enrolled in, and it's a shortcut of everything that they might need. So this is a shortcut for our associate deans, instructors, our career services information. We have the unplug the plagiarism checker if they want to check their stuff before they turn it in. IT videos, the certification and field information. This is where we house that information, these study sessions. We have a link to Shark. We have a job board, and then this is a one-stop link for lynda.com. So lynda.com, all of our students in IT have full access. So just because they might be taking a C++ class or a security plus, they can go in lynda.com and they can learn SharePoint, or they can learn human resource management. They can learn anything in lynda.com. So that's pretty cool. And then our job board is where we post new jobs. This is under construction. I'm going to click on it really quick because Lance Reeder was making it really cool because us nerds, we didn't make it cool enough. So he added a neat banner, and then he posted some new positions in February, but I just sent him some new ones. And there's a system administrator for Salt Lake, and there was some Colorado Springs one. There was an overstock.com, and there's just tons of job opportunities. So he updates this, we add to it. It's pretty neat. And then if our students need contact and they want to talk to one of our instructors or the associate deans, they click on associate deans and they get all of our mug shots. So if they wanted to talk to me, they could click on here and get my bio, or they could get my phone number. Here's Nick Becker, Janelle. Here is all of the associate deans. So they could say, hey, Sam is my associate dean, but I can't get a hold of him, or I lost his phone number. He can get it. They can get his phone number right here. Here's Mitch, who's doing the next study session. Okay. Now, if they wanted to talk to one of their instructors, there's also an instructor one, which is the exact same. And we can add you guys to this course if you'd like. So you have Terry Beetleshees, Dr. Black, Nathan Braun. I should have made this smaller, huh? So that you can see everybody. Dan Brown. So some of us actually take mugshot looking shots. Some of us, it's a very pretty background like Angela's. So this is our faculty, and they can contact them any way they want, or they could just read their background. Pretty exciting. So.
Yeah, sometimes it's always nice to put a face to a name, you know, when you can see your instructor, and, you know, they typically take these and post them in their course for their bio. I said students want, and the one thing we've always advocated is making sure we have a personal relationship with our students, and the one way to do that is making sure they know what you look like. Yeah, like I said, some of the pictures we got for these are not the best. Some of them are mugshot type pictures, but others are pretty good.
There was one day when everybody sent Tom a picture, and it was everybody lined up on a white wall like these guys, and Keita too. And Tom's like, okay, we need to talk about backgrounds. So most of us, we sent pictures, but everybody just, you know, takes a selfie on a white wall. We worked on that. So now we have some fancy looking pictures. But if you need to contact them, this is the best way to contact the instructors. All right, that's all I have for you. So any questions, comments, concerns?
I have one. So there is something that I wanted to bring up, and I'm glad we were looking at that. With our website, at the School of Technology, and you go to our website, independence.edu, and students do click on the degree. It'll say program information, it'll pull up the degree, it tells them what it prepares them for, and then they see the classes like programming logic, you know, for an example. However, there's no, and yes, I do know we send out course catalog, but is there a way that we can maybe make a suggestion to possibly incorporate like a brief description for courses on the website itself? So it's all in one. So that way they're not opening up like 2 or 3 different emails or going to 2 or 3 different sites, where it would say like web design, this course features, et cetera, et cetera. Is there a way we can do that for our website?
Can I jump in here? Our external website, theindependence.edu, is actually owned by marketing, and the material is approved by compliance. So I would actually suggest taking that up through your chain of command. That would probably be the quickest route to that, because that's not really owned by academics.
Okay.
Yeah, because
this
this
is
changed
Tom.
since I've last seen it.
Yeah, well, my concern is, and we have provided these before, and I think Marilee knows this, is we have created what we call product knowledge sheets of our programs. And I think those are ones, correct me if I'm wrong, Marilee, that we can give to admissions that they could share with students that are involved in the enrollment process, if I remember right. So I don't know the exact rules, but I know that we have created product knowledge sheets of each of our programs that outline that detailed information.
Send them to me first, and then yeah, let me just take a peek at them and make sure they look good, and then.
And certainly send them the catalog. The online catalog, just do a Control F and you type in your PRG 102. Oops, 102. And then it will give you the description. You can just click through the programs that they're in, and then you get the descriptions at the back. And I know that it's kind of crazy, but that's the other option.
And I was going to make one more comment. I know we presented a lot of information specifically about the number and the connection of the courses to the certifications. For you guys as a missions rep, you don't necessarily upfront need to memorize every certification attached to every course, but I think we have provided a either PowerPoint presentation or a worksheet or document that outlines which courses are attached to which certs. So if a prospective student does ask you for them, you can say, yes, we have industry certifications. These are the courses that are attached to these certifications. So I think that's also part of that product knowledge sheet. But that's something you want to have in your back pocket, but you may not necessarily need that immediately. I think the important factor to get out of here is how we do tie our courses and our curriculum specifically to industry certifications that go hand in hand with education.
Yeah, and I will be sending you guys these PowerPoints, so you'll always have them, everything that we go over. Any other questions? All right, I'm going to stop.